right, let's talk about something that's been a dark cloud over the trucking industry for way, way too long: the predatory lease purchase agreement. You know, it's sold as the American dream, a ticket to owning your own business. But for so many drivers, that dream turns into an absolute financial nightmare. Well, there's a new bill in Washington that's trying to put a stop to it for good, and we are going to break it all down.
And let's just kick things off with this quote from Todd Spencer, the president of OOIDA. It is incredibly powerful and honestly pretty brutal. Oats through a horse. Just let that sink in. It paints this picture of a system that doesn't see professional drivers as partners, but as something to be consumed, used up, and then just cast aside. This really sets the stage for the very real human cost of what we're talking about today.
So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we're going to define what this lease purchase trap actually is. Then we'll get into the federal investigation that blew the lid off the whole thing, look at the task force's scathing verdict, and then dive into the new bill that's designed to stop the bleeding. And finally, we'll talk about what it really takes to own your truck and why your voice matters so much in all of this.
Okay, so first things first, the lease purchase trap. Look, for so many people, getting into trucking isn't just about a paycheck. It's about a shot at being your own boss, owning your rig, calling your own shots. And carriers? Oh, they know this. They market these lease programs like they're the golden ticket. But that promise of freedom, it so often ends in complete and total financial ruin. And this right here, this slide, just lays out the classic bait and switch perfectly. On the left, you see the dream they're selling you. Be your own boss, own your truck, financial freedom. But the reality on the right, it's the complete opposite. Instead of being your own boss, you lose all control, usually locked into one carrier. Instead of a path to ownership, you get buried under a mountain of debt you can never climb out of. And financial freedom? Nope. All the big expenses, the truck payments, the repairs, the fuel, it all gets shifted right onto your back. And this brings us right back to the human cost. Like Todd Spencer says, it's not just a bad business deal. It's a system designed to trap people. Once you're in, you're stuck on a hamster wheel, working insane hours, not to get ahead, but just to keep your head above water. You're taking any load they throw at you, at any rate they give you, just watching every penny get eaten up by payments and surprise repair bills. It's a cycle of survival, not success.
Okay, so this problem got so big, so loud, that it just couldn't be ignored anymore. The stories of drivers losing their shirts, of families going bankrupt, it became this deafening roar that finally reached the government. This wasn't just industry gossip anymore. This was a national crisis that needed a real, formal investigation.
So in response, the Department of Transportation, specifically the FMCSA, did something pretty important. They created a special group, the Truck Leasing Task Force, or TLTF for short. And their mission was crystal clear: dig into these contracts and find out if they were actually designed on purpose to take advantage of drivers. The government was finally sending in the detectives to see if all this smoke was coming from a real fire. And let me tell you, this was not some quick weekend review. The TLTF went on a serious 18-month-long investigation. They started back in July of 2023, held meeting after meeting, gathered tons of data, and most importantly, they listened. They heard testimony directly from drivers who had been through the ringer, from experts, and from the carriers themselves. All that work led to one massive comprehensive report that they handed over to Congress in January 2025. So after an 18-month deep dive, what did they actually find? Well, that brings us to Section 3, the task force's verdict. And after listening to all those stories and crunching all that data, the conclusions they came to, well, they didn't pull any punches. They were direct, they were powerful, and they basically confirmed everyone's worst fears about these programs. And the number one takeaway was this: these programs cause widespread harm. This was not a case of a few bad apples or some poorly written contracts. No, the report identified a systemic problem. The very way these agreements are structured was causing devastating financial damage to an incredible number of drivers all across the country. And they did not hold back with their language. I mean, just listen to this quote from an official government report: irredeemable tools of fraud and driver oppression. Those are some seriously heavy words. Irredeemable literally means they saw no way to fix them. And notice how they connected it all to safety, because a driver who's buried in debt, working 80, 90 hours a week just to break even, that's a driver who might be forced to cut corners on maintenance or drive when they're exhausted. It's a danger to everyone. The investigation also got to the heart of why these programs exist. The task force found they're built to create an inequitable power dynamic. In plain English, the whole thing is rigged from the start. It's not a partnership. All the power, all the leverage is in the carrier's hands. And the report says flat out the carriers exploit that power for one main reason: to get cheap labor, cheaper than hiring an employee or a legit independent contractor. This slide really breaks down their playbook. It's simple, but it's brutal. Step 1, shift the massive cost of the truck onto the driver. Step 2, shift the unpredictable and often bank-breaking cost of repairs onto the driver. Step 3, shift every other operating cost, fuel, insurance, you name it, onto the driver. Think about it. It's like your boss making you pay rent for your own desk, buy your own work computer, and pay the office electric bill. It's a fantastic business model if you're the carrier. You get a dedicated driver and truck with zero risk. For the driver, it's a catastrophe. And look, this isn't just theory. This has destroyed lives and families in the trucking community. We know for a fact that many of you watching have dealt with this firsthand. Have you, or has somebody you know, been trapped in one of these deals? We genuinely want to hear your story. Please take a moment and share your experience down in the comments. Your voice adds a powerful and necessary perspective to this conversation. So with the report this damning, this clear, you can't just file it away and forget about it. It demanded action. And that brings us to Section 4, a bill to ban exploitation. Lawmakers in Washington took the task force's #1 recommendation and turned it into actual concrete legislation. And here it is. On September 18th, 2025, U.S. Representative Julia Brownlee introduced a bill with one very clear goal: to finally ban these predatory programs. And this wasn't just some bill inspired by the report. No, it was a direct translation of the task force's main conclusion, which said that a complete ban would be the most efficient and effective remedy to stop the damage. So what's the bill actually designed to do? Well, its goals are pretty straightforward. It wants to change federal regulations to flat out prohibit these kinds of lease agreements. It's not about tweaking them, it's about making them illegal. The whole point is to stop the financial bleeding, protect drivers from getting trapped, and maybe, just maybe, help keep good, hard-working drivers in an industry that desperately needs them. But here's the thing. Passing this bill is a huge step, but it's not the end of the story. You have to see it for what it is. It's removing a giant, unfair obstacle from the road. It clears a path, but it doesn't drive the truck for you. And this brings us to a really important question about what the path to true, successful ownership really looks like. And that leads us right here. Let's imagine this bill passes and these predatory leases are gone. That's great. The door to legitimate business ownership swings wide open. But what does it really take to walk through that door and build a thriving owner-operator business in today's industry? I'll tell you, it's about a whole lot more than just having a fair truck payment. To really make it, you've got to build your business on a few key pillars. You need to be sharp with your finances, have a rock-solid business plan, and know your cost per mile down to the last cent. You need a maintenance strategy that prevents problems instead of just reacting to them. You have to be smart about picking your loads, not just chasing rates, but planning for profit. And underneath it all, there's one foundation that is absolutely non-negotiable: flawless compliance. And I can't stress this last point enough. The world of DOT and FMCSA regulations is a mountain of paperwork, strict drug and alcohol testing rules, and constant changes. One little slip-up, one missed test or deadline can get you shut down in a heartbeat. It's a massive headache, and honestly, that's why a lot of smart owner-operators partner with a consortium or a third-party administrator. That's exactly what we do here at LabWorks USA. We handle that entire complex world of drug and alcohol compliance for you, making sure you're in the random testing pool, making sure the paperwork is perfect. We take that entire burden off your shoulders so you can focus on what actually makes you money: keeping your truck safely on the road. Okay, let's bring this all home in our last section: your voice on the road. This bill is more than just a new rule. It's a potential turning point for the whole culture of trucking. It's proof that when drivers speak up and share their stories, things can actually change. It's a reminder that your experience out there on the road matters, and it can shape the future. So we've covered the problem, the investigation, and the bill that's supposed to fix it. Now the big question is, what happens next? What do you think about this bill? Do you think a federal ban is the right way to go? Do you think it'll actually work, or will carriers just find some new loophole to exploit? We really want to hear from you. Let us and the whole community here know what you think down in the comments. Hey, thank you so much for sticking with us for this explainer.
At the end of the day, this is a story about fairness, it's about freedom, and it's about the fight to protect the people who are the absolute backbone of our economy, our professional drivers. If you were inspired by this video, please do us a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel, LabWorks USA. And feel free to share this with anyone you think needs to see it. Thank you.